In my last video, I challenged you to beat the demo I put out for my latest game. I also put $100 on the line for the fastest recorded time. It was met with overwhelming success and we had a whopping 0 entries. Well, except for this guy who gave up halfway through the first level. But you know what does have a lot of entries? Game jams. I've decided that I'll be creating shorter format videos until I've built up a large enough audience to justify the lengthier content, as it takes far too long to make. And what better way to do that than to post my devlogs for game jams? So I jumped on itch.io and looked for some interesting game jams, and this one in particular caught my attention. It's called Mini Jam and it runs every second weekend. I also really liked the fact that there was both a theme and a limitation, and even though the theme is optional, I wanted to incorporate both as a challenge to myself. This time around the theme was Cascade and the limitation was finite quantity. I felt that the theme could also be interpreted in the gameplay itself. If you've played any of my previous games, you'll know that I love creating brand new twists on popular puzzle games. After some careful thinking, I settled on the idea of a puzzle game where matching colors cascade into each other. The core idea is that you have a playfield of different colored balls, and by dropping a weight on top of them, you'll cause matching colors to merge or cascade into each other. I started off by picking a color palette, as good colors can make even terrible art look good and consistent. I drew a level layout and added these arrows that indicates which direction the rows will be shifting to. I then drew a player character and added some movement code. I also programmed some logic to fill up the board and to shift the rows around. I then made it so that the direction in which these rows shift is randomized after every turn to mix things up. I gave the weight some weight, and wait for it. Yeah, it doesn't do anything yet. So I wrote a matching algorithm and polished up the effects to make it feel like it's crushing the balls together. I then added a system that would give you exponentially more score based off the size of the combos. I added some UI, music and sound effects. I also limited the amount of weights that the player has, finite quantity, and made it so that you need to reach a certain amount of score in order to receive more weights. This score requirement increases over time so that the game eventually comes to an end. I also gave the player a limited amount of time to make a move, otherwise the weight is automatically dropped. This encourages quick thinking. Lastly, I added a tutorial, a nice transition effect, and uploaded the final product. I landed up in 6th place, but I think I could have scored higher if I incorporated the limitation a bit better. Either way, it was a fun experience, and if you'd like to play the game for yourself, you can find the link in the description. If you enjoyed this kind of format, please remember to like and subscribe. Okay, thanks, bye.